When we left off last week, Jose was off the East Coast and Maria was making its way rampaging essentially through Puerto Rico and then tracking northwest. Well, Jose fizzled out, and that swirl off the East Coast is Maria. It is making very slow progress. It's still a hurricane, barely, but a Category 1 with winds at 80 miles per hour off the eastern U.S. coastline. Not going to be a direct threat, but we do have tropical storm warnings out for the Outer Banks and a tropical storm watch out for parts of the coastal Carolinas there, specifically North Carolina. So, yeah, it's going to continue to be an issue for them. High wind, high surf through about the middle of the week before Maria, as we track it, slowly pulls off to the northeast, so it'll get closest to the Outer Banks, still well off the coast. As getting into Tuesday morning through the day Tuesday, and then eventually starting to hook off to the northeast, and then eventually way out in the Atlantic as it picks up speed and shoots on out of here. Now, that's interesting enough, but what's also interesting is Lee, which fell apart, became a remnant low, reorganized, and once again is Lee, a Category 1 hurricane. Now, this one's even farther out. That's Bermuda right there. So it's going to do that same north track and then the right hook. So neither of these storms are going to be a direct impact, although Maria close enough that it's causing issues for the Carolinas. This one's just basically a fish storm. We've got a MaxTrack Live that is clear, and as we get a closer inspection of it, you're not going to see much until you go off to the west, tracking a cold front for later this week. And it's not just one cold front. It'll be a couple of frontal boundaries that head our way. Watch out for some fog. Southern counties, we've got some particularly dense fog down south, and we have a future track that's not going to show us much the next couple of days. So if you're hoping for showers, storms, some wet weather, we're in an extended dry stretch that's going to continue through the end of the week. And in fact, we don't have any rain on the way throughout the entirety of the 8-day forecast. We've got two cold fronts heading our way, and I don't think either of them are going to do much precipitation-wise, but what they will do is knock us down temperature-wise big time going into the weekend. We're in the mid-60s, highs today, upper 80s, the same tomorrow, mid-80s to upper 80s Wednesday. But then what ends up happening is an upper-level wind shift and an overall shift in the pattern going into the weekend. Right now, we've got a ridge in place. It's very warm. There's Maria, that swirl off the coast. And you've got this trough dug in out west. Now, as you watch the pattern through the middle of the week, that cooler air builds its way in from the Great Lakes into the Commonwealth here. And so by the end of the week, this is Saturday morning, that heat ridge essentially is just going to break down as our trough digs in. A couple of cold fronts coming through at the surface. Not a lot of rain, but the temperature is just going to tank by the end of the week. And what a weekend it's going to be compared to this really, really hot one that we just went through. And it is hot for this time of the year. We're in the upper 80s again. Our average high is in the mid-70s. We're a good 10 to 15 degrees above our average high. Record highs are around the low 90s. 93, I think, for Lexington today. So we're not that far off. Mid-60s tonight. Tomorrow, yeah, more of the same. Upper 80s, mid to upper 80s Wednesday. Here comes the first cold front. Notice hardly anything as far as precipitation goes. We may see some isolated showers and storms as these fronts pass through, but it'll be a couple of repeated whacks with temperatures in the mid-70s Thursday. By Friday, we're falling into the low 70s, and this weekend, we're only back to around the upper 60s for the high. So we could have some just spectacular football kind of weather heading our way this weekend. Big-time cool down. Overnight lows really chilly as well, guys. We're way down in the 40s.
Pretty